Sitting on a beach, or fishing at the lake, or just taking a break. The countdown clocks have started, fight songs pass the time. The days may run together, but you know that in our mind it's always Saturday. Take me back to Saturday. Saturday. Give me those 12 Saturdays. Spot the ball. March Madness is a blast, and we love baseball games. But nothing beats the feeling of having a killer slate of games. It's always Saturday. Take me back to Saturday. Saturday. Dreaming of all Saturdays. Spot the ball. Spot the ball. Oh, college football. For the small, lay a big hit and pass a kick the ball. This game is for us all. From Seattle down toward the Keys, this game is you, this game is me. Cast dogs and steer, be the tree. This game is America, so sing it loud with me. College football forever. College football forever. Downtown LA, Starkville City. 1 week you're up next, take a dip. Run the rock or let it rip. This game is America. All say, can you sing it with me?
We just stepped on her face with a hot-tail Trojan across her nose. Whoa, Nelly!
College football forever. College football forever. College football forever. College football forever.
College football is a year-round discussion with these two. Here's JC and Morgan. Mike Morgan of ESPN and JC Sherbert of 24/7 Sports have you covered, beginning right now.
And we welcome you to another installment of JC and Morgan, number 300 if you're scoring at home. The tuxedo rentals, we couldn't get one, so we're just dressed in our fatigues here. We'll get into the long preamble later on in the show, but due to time constraints, it is talking season. We'll get right into one of our talking guests who talks college football year-round, kind of like what we do, except he does it 2 hours every day. And when he's not doing that, he's co-hosting a 4-hour talk show in Atlanta on 680 The Fan. Every now and then he lets me crash the party and co-host with him. We also call some games together on Elite Media Network. He is the Kang, Chuck Oliver, and he joins us now via a beautiful-looking home. Is that Sandy Springs? Where are we?
Yeah. Now, where are you in Atlanta?
I'm still in Brookhaven. You left Brookhaven and you went up the road to Sandy Springs, and I still haven't been to the new pad. So,
JC, Columbia,
Chicago for JC.
I live in the suburbs of Chicago.
I'm sure there's a reason, but
my wife, my stepson is still in.
When in doubt, it's a woman.
Yeah,
Can we all agree on that?
I'll be back in Columbia shortly. Let's just
fantastic.
Put it that way.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So we're kind of spread out all over the place, but thanks to modern technology, it's the one good thing that came out of COVID is that we can do this via Zoom no matter where we all are. Chuck, I want to start with this because I've been on your show a number of times. JC and I used to go in there
Fantastic.
on a weekly basis. That was a fun segment. We really enjoyed doing that.
Then he moved to Chicago.
But then he left us again, and just that put an end to the whole thing, sadly. But regardless of that, for those that don't know, because I think most people in the South are familiar with Chuck and Chernoff. It's been a long-standing brand name show, does very well. But your college show, which is syndicated on a number of affiliates, when I'm bouncing around on the road calling games, I hear it quite a bit.
That's funny.
Yeah, I do. I run it like, hey, there's Chuck on another station. But I know, like JC and I are both big college basketball fans. We don't talk a lot about it on here. You know everything. You know basketball. You talk Braves. You talk NFL. Do you ever find it a little bit of a struggle for you when you flick that mic on every day and do your 2-hour college football specific show? Do you ever find it a challenge to stay in that lane and only that lane?
Not really. You have to make it relevant. And unfortunately, there's so many off-field things, whether it's money, legalities, contracts, etc. Here's my general rule, and this has been since we started the show back in 2014. On the field is always 10 times more interesting to people who are consuming your product than off the field. And then we started getting player movement. And we know from the pro leagues that the draft, the free agency period, like that's always as exciting as. And so college has entered a new level of interest, a new area of interest that we've never had player movement like this. I thought it was a huge deal back in the day when y'all remember Trey Matthews, kid out of Noonan, Georgia, went to UGA, and then in like either his 5th or 6th year transferred to Auburn. I was like, outstanding. I thought that was player movement. One safety who came and played like 12 games. And so it's a way, way, way different environment and feel now, but it doesn't have to be bad. I'm not one of those. The worst thing, okay? And by the way, anybody who either already is in our industry or who would like to take our jobs, I'm going to give you the key. Do not be old guy who everything sucks. Everything used to be better. Like nothing in college football. All right, like the ACC used to be better. Other than that, literally everything is better in college football right now. And I am not going to worry about name, image, likeness, and money and all of that other stuff. I'm just talking about my experience when I walk through the turnstile or I turn the TV on. My experience with college football the past 2 seasons specifically has been unbelievable. So if we concentrate on what our lane is as a fan, then I think we'll enjoy the game. If we want to drill down and be worried about stuff, you can do that about anything. But I don't do literally. I think everything in college football, Mike, JC, we all grew up when you would have a noon game and then maybe a 7:30 game. And if you're lucky, there was a third game. That was it. If I'm an App State grad living in Hawaii, I can watch every Mounties game every single season. Like that's just awesome. So I think the game's actually in a really good place for the consumer.
I couldn't agree more. And it wasn't that long ago, guys like me were calling SEC matchups on pay-per-view because no TV picked it up. You had to spend $30 to see
at least
a level production of South Carolina Ole Miss, for example. And if you were a fan, you wanted to see it. That's what you had to do. Now everything is available. And I agree. I mean, JC and I have been caught in this web where we have strong opinions on NIL and the portal and everything else, but every now and then we catch ourselves. We're like, you know what? We got to put a moratorium on that. We can't get bogged down in that because the bottom line is the product on the field, for my money, has never been better. And the playoff, which I was begging for my entire life, to me is a good thing. There's just too many good things out there about the sport. And the Indiana story kind of reinvigorated that.
Oh, yeah.
My last complaint was it's a cabal and it's the same half a dozen teams playing for the title every year. Well, now we even reverse that for temporarily. So that being said, like as we sit here in March, and before you know it, March Madness will be over and college football, spring football will really take over the focal point for a lot of us, particularly in the Southeast who cover this year round. What are some of the stories? I know you have a lot of guests. Your boy Heath Klein books a lot of great people. What are some of the biggest stories you've been keeping an eye on? Because I'm going to say that the best for last, the quarterback rankings. That's always, that's like catnip for all of us. But some of the other things you've been just covering year round, some of the biggest storylines in this offseason for you.
Well, it's player movement, and then it's coaching movement that extended far beyond where it normally does. I popped out of the womb, and it would be the third week of November, and coaches would start getting fired, and it was true like the first, half century of my life. When I think it was North Carolina fired Bunting, like maybe in October, I was like, ooh, that's a big story. All right, we had Nebraska with a graduate as the AD fire another graduate as head coach. If they would have waited, Mike, a week and a half, they could have saved a couple of $1 million. And Trev's like, no, screw that. You're out right here, right now. That is because you know what? At Nebraska, we're in the Big Ten, so it's just money. And so the coaching movement that has continued to happen as well, that used to start in November. It starts way early in September now, and it's continued. Like, it's still going on right now because of mostly one additional factor. The NFL, later than ever, is finding willing participants in the college game who would like to change their coaching style from Saturdays to Sundays because, hey, I ain't got to recruit anymore. So you have a lot of coaches in college who are now having to replace recent hires, like, I don't know, a month, 2 months ago, who have bolted to the league because they don't want to deal with name, image, likeness anymore. So that's a challenge, but it's not a challenge for me. It's a challenge for Dabo. All right. So I don't understand media clutching the pearls because, I don't know, Mike Norvell hires a secondary coach and then 3 weeks later has to replace him. Well, that's Mike's problem. If he had a radio show and wanted to gripe about it, sure, but he doesn't. So I'm not going to complain for him. I just know that when the season starts, he's going to have somebody coaching safeties. So that's been one of the things that has struck me is so much later coaching movement with guys bolting to the league.
Yeah, and the movement continues to be fast and furious,
Yep.
and there's no longer 5-year plans in place if you do get a college football coaching job. What do we make of this? Is going to be a hot topic. And there are people just rejoicing in the streets in Big Ten country, Big 12 country, out west. 3 consecutive years, the SEC not only did not win the national championship, but they were not represented in the national championship game. It's real easy to make kind of an overarching statement about that. What would you make out of that? Anything in particular, or is it just kind of flukish that it's happened that way?
From a sporting standpoint, it's college football at the highest level. You either win or you don't. All right. And so then you can give me all the details of it. But the bottom line is either you won or you didn't. But that's the game that I want to play as a fan or as a guy who 100 million years ago used to coach. Like, I'm a guy, through my lens, I'm looking at it strictly from the outcome of the game. We not only have a younger breed of GMs and even athletic directors, but it's a different strain of GMs and athletic directors. And a lot of it, I don't mean this in disparaging ways, but it's bean counters. And what they like, you're right. Big Ten's, from my vision, the Big Ten's on a heater right now. They've got 3 straight. What about from the SEC's vision? Because they had 5 playoff teams and the Big Ten only had 3. Now, I know that you make more money for advancing and all of that, but I don't know. A playoff year where there were 12 seeds and we got 5 of them, I'm going to ride with that one. I'm going to count that we will advance a bit more than we did. But that's a totally different measuring stick than we really need to concern ourselves with as fans again. So the SEC, business in downtown Birmingham, good. They would love to get the Natty. But as a consolation prize, getting 5 playoff teams, that's not nothing.
No, and had what was it, 4 the year before? Like, it's not as if the SEC is down. They haven't had the super team, and I don't know if the super team is going to exist anymore. Which you saw Georgia in 2020, 2021. I just don't see that where you can just stockpile or 21, 22.
Oh no, and like, don't all of us, like, we've seen it. Like 2019 LSU. That was one
happening.
Of those where, like, every opposing coaching staff on Sunday was like, God almighty, are they playing with like 14 on offense? We've all seen these teams. Was it 2001 Miami that had Kellen Winslow backing up Jeremy Shockey?
Yeah.
They had 4. Okay. we all know, we've seen elite steamroller teams. That was not Indiana. Indiana was a brutally efficient, physical team with a stud quarterback, but they were not an all-time great team. But here's the thing, they don't have to be. They're playing in modern NCAA football, which is a lot like the NFL. One thing I've never heard anybody say before an NFL season, hey, I don't think we're going to have any undefeated teams this year. Right. No kidding, we're not going to have any undefeated teams because it's too hard and there are too many games and whatever else. We are about to get to that where it's not unusual for us to have a season with college football where there's nobody undefeated. And so I think we need to kind of change our mindset to viewing elite seasons or great seasons or teams through the same measuring stick that we use for NFL teams. You can lose 3 or 4 or 5 games and be a Super Bowl champion that we look at and go, wow, you're one of the greats.
Yeah, we have to recalibrate, that's for sure. I don't know how many more 16-0s there are going to be in college football. He is Chuck Oliver, 680 The Fan. Give a little plug to the College Football Show.
Yeah, started it in 2014, 9 states, 71 sticks every day, and growing. And so, I don't know, by the time we kick off the season, there'll be all kinds of new surprises going too.
All right. One of the things, if you ever want to have a polarizing contest, just rank quarterbacks. It's a good way to get a nice, healthy dose of hate mail.
Oh, gosh.
So you put this out a couple weeks ago. I was comparing it to Athlon, SI. I've looked at about 5 of them, just trying to come up with a consensus. And I'm quick to point out, remember who was at the top last year? Garrett Nussmeier. Oh, major step back. I mean, he's just trying to be a second-day draft pick now. There was talk about him being number 1. Manoris Stellers, Heisman Trophy candidate, did not have a good year, regressed. You look at DJ Lagway. Do you remember the hype on DJ? Some people had him the number 1 quarterback in the SEC.
Dude, I was part of the hype.
What? Oh my goodness, was he? It was flop.
If DJ were a store that opened at 9, at 8:30, I was beating on the glass. Man, let me in. I want some DJ.
Well, because he showed you enough the year before, where you're like, oh, if you give him 12 games now,
he was 6-1 as a true freshman starter in the SEC. It's stupid.
And they had momentum, and then he regressed. And then meanwhile, it's Joey Aguilar can't play. Tennessee's going to be in trouble. Oh no, actually he can play. And then it's Diego Pavia. Well, that was a fluke. Well, Diego Pavia wound up going to New York in the second year starting in the league. And Arch Manning, people were piling on early and saying, see, he's overrated. I saw his high school tape. He's playing against a bunch of little prep kids from a rich suburb. And no, Arch Manning actually pretty good, but that didn't happen until the end. So you have, and this is the consensus I kind of could find, and there's people all over the map. I mean, I've seen Byron Brown number 2.
I get that.
I don't think people realize how good Byron Brown is.
I don't know. You lead the college football nation in touchdowns. That's not nothing.
That's not nothing. But people, it's USF, and so therefore I don't know if he can play. And of course, Auburn's been on what's the opposite of a heater? That's what Auburn's been on.
5 straight losing seasons?
Yeah, it's just hard to believe. But you have Chambliss 1, Levitt 2, Manning 3. And I would say that's pretty close to a consensus. And then you've got Gunnar Stockton 4, and that wasn't good enough for a lot of Georgia fans, so you took heat there. You got Lenoris Sellers 5. I mean, he's going to be 2 on some boards. He's going to be 7 on some others. Yes.
Question.
Yes, answer.
If you were being dropped in the room of truth, when you saw Sam Levitt at 2, because a lot of people say Sam Levitt's not the second best quarterback in the SEC. What were you thinking about Sam Levitt at 2 when I showed you that?
No, I think it's about right.
Okay, then you got to be factoring in something that's pretty important, because when people talk about just quarterbacks and Sam Levitt, Sam probably isn't as skilled as Arch Manning or Lenoris Sellers or Byron Brown maybe. He's got Lane Kiffin, and one thing that Lane Kiffin always does right, he gets the QB right. He had a winning record with Jonathan Crompton at Tennessee. He gets the quarterback right. And so whatever you thought of Sam Levitt, move him up like a space and a half in your rankings, because Lane Kiffin's his coach.
Yeah.
He's similar to Jackson Dart. Dart was okay at Southern Cal.
Right.
But then he gets to Ole Miss, and you saw what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and I
don't
saw
worry
enough
about
of him
it.
at Arizona State where I liked what he. I mean, I would have had him in the top 5. I don't know if I haven't sat down and thought about this long enough, but he would have been top 5 for sure.
He was good. Yeah, the 2 years ago. Then they lost a lot of their. I mean, you lose Cam Scattaboo. I mean, you're going to go back a little bit. I mean, they were 8-4. They beat their only team to beat Texas Tech.
Yeah, but Sam Levitt, he thought enough, Lane thought enough of him to kind of run him down, like hold the boombox over his head in Knoxville outside the stadium when he was in there meeting with Heupel. He wanted Sam Levitt. He identified him as the guy. I just think it's going to be a tremendous match, and Lane always does a great job. Remember, he was the guy with Jalen Hurts. He just nudged him just in the right direction. He did it down at FAU with the kid who had transferred from Oklahoma, I believe. He gets it right, man. Last year, by the way, one thing about, he wasn't even calling the plays last year. That's true. Y'all watch any Ole Miss game last year, you would hear something like just something in the distance. Lane wouldn't call the plays, but if he saw something, he would whistle out to Trinidad Chambliss and give him a signal and change the play on the fly just by seeing something. So if you hear a whistle, it was Lane getting Trinidad's attention. Lane is a wizard with this stuff. And so anything Sam Levitt can do, like multiply it like 1.3 probably.
I don't think anybody would ever, even if you don't have Chambliss number 1, I don't think anybody would have a problem with Chambliss at number 1 because there's nothing not to love about that kid.
Deuce Knight, I wouldn't have quite as high. And so if something happens with that ruling, then I'll amend that. Just like, George McIntyre, sorry, Tennessee. You've got a redshirt freshman that has played a teacup on the field, and he needs to gain, I'm not kidding, like 25, 30 pounds still. But if Joey Aguilar would have been eligible this year, then, like you, Mike, I would have maybe had him up there. I would have had him deciding him and Lenora Sellers. That would have been about where I was.
Well, let's think also back to last year. Nobody had Ty Simpson in their top 5. Many didn't have him in the top 10. He's about to be a first-round draft pick, and was pretty damn good in an Alabama uniform. Is there a guy that's not in your top 5 that could be that surprise this year where you're like, I had to put him at 11 or 13, but I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the league by storm?
Austin Simmons is intriguing to me, but what gets left out is, Trinidad Chambliss took off, and so he couldn't get the job back. He turned the ball over a lot in the first, 2.5 games he played. He had like 5 picks. So I'm going to give you a choice on this one. It might be Austin Simmons, but interceptions, it's just the one thing you don't do. It's like a doctor. First rule, do no harm. I can't have you turn the ball over. And so if he solves that, it might be Austin Simmons. I'm going to go with Austin Mack. That is a guy that it could just absolutely kaboom. He was the only guy on that roster who was recruited by Ryan Grubb. And that has to matter. He sees something in the kid. He could have one of those explosion. And by the way, what they want to do on offense, you were talking about Ty Simpson. Brother, that was high-level stuff, and it was fun to watch last year. When he got on about that 6-week run, it was really, really fun to watch. And so if they're able to do that same sort of stuff with a guy who was a lot physically bigger in Austin Mack, then you may have even better results potentially.
Better protect him. That's going to be an issue. That's going to be an issue out there this year.
Yeah, it just surprised me because they had returning talent and then brought in 2 guys from a Joe Moore line, and just it hasn't been what it's supposed to out there.
Yeah, if not, Russell's a more dual threat guy, but you're right. In the DeBoer offense, a lot of people think dual threat, but it's not. It's if you look at Michael Penix, he's a passer. Passer guy. They run enough, but they don't. Ty Simpson had some wheels, but he's not. He is a passer. They want to throw the ball, but you got to protect.
Ask Falcon fans. They know Penix can't run. Now they're wondering if he can play. Chuck, I don't want to get you in trouble with the boss man, Andy. Just real quick, give us a taste of what's on the show this coming week here on the College Football Extravaganza.
Well, it's funny because I'm going to expand on something. Usually I've got a theme that, I kind of want to build through the week. And I was actually using, it's funny that y'all asked me to be on today because JC, I was using South Carolina as sort of my template. There's a Hunger Games going on. And we used to compete, like Shane Beamer, for instance, he had plenty enough to pray about just with the SEC opponents he had. It's a real thing now. You not just have to compete against the other SEC programs, you have to compete against the other athletic programs at your own school. When Lamont got the pass, was it 2 weeks ago? I was like, all right, well, somebody's getting fired because you can't, somebody's getting whacked. And it wound up being the baseball coach, and they announced that yesterday, which maybe that was going to happen anyway. What we are seeing is the emergence of, no matter what we've told you all our lives, no matter even maybe what we've done on the basketball floor, we're getting a very clear message from ADs that we're at a major program and we're willing to tolerate subpar results in men's basketball because we're not going to dedicate money to firing the guy. And I think we're seeing that at LSU. We saw it at South Carolina. God bless Georgia Tech. And by the way, you want some little inside scoop? Ryan Alpert, the AD, he didn't want to fire Damon. He was very clear. He wanted to bring Damon back for one more year to build up name, image, likeness funds, just kind of put Damon on an ice block and float him out there with no more money. Get through one more year, build, keep the powder dry, and then really load up for next year. Damon crapped the bed. He lost his final 12 games. Like, literally, I was told if he would have won 2 of those 12 games, they would have brought him back. That's what it takes for a college basketball coach to get fired now, even at a place like LSU or Georgia Tech.
See, we wound up talking money there at the end, Chuck. We kind of broke our own rule.
But it's important. It's real. And that's relevant, by the way, no matter who you're a fan of.
No, it is. What
I just talked about with LSU and South Carolina and Georgia Tech, that's you. That's every program in America.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's only so much in the kitty, right? He is Chuck Oliver. He is the king. You can catch him on the college football program at an affiliate near you. Also, Chuck and Chernoff each and every weekday from 2 to 6. The hardest working man in showbiz. Chuck, I always appreciate it. We'll have you back. We will not wait another couple of years before we have you back on. That is our bad, not yours. And look forward to working with you on some games this fall as well.
Raise the roof, guys.
Great to see you, Chuck. Take care, buddy.
Now. Chuck Oliver joining us here on the guest line on JC and Morgan. Again, we're powered by Advocare. Yes, I've got my canister of Spark. What flavor do I? This is snowberry. There's like not a it's like a blueberry mix. There's not a bad flavor in the bunch. Like some of this stuff you take that you get at like a GNC, and I'm sure it's good for you. I mean, Meathead Mickey wouldn't lead you in the wrong direction, right? But it tastes like garbage. Like, I actually enjoy the taste of this stuff. So I got that every morning. I got the Spark. You can get it in the canister. You can get it in the little tearaway strips, which are convenient when you're traveling. And then when you're playing a little pickup basketball, or you're going to the gym, or if you're like JC and you're doing Pilates and bar, you get your Rehydrate. You go ahead and you put that in the water. It's like Gatorade, but it's much better for you because it doesn't have a ton of sugar. There's a product for everybody. If you go to advocare.com, and there's a discount for everybody, 20% off. Promo code Mike Morgan is how you do it. Kind of an abrupt open of the show. We were a little bit time sensitive with Chuck, but we're all good now. We got a JC5 coming up. JC, I feel bad. I haven't had a chance to say good morning. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It's been a fantastic day so far. So
fantastic day.
I'm super good to hear from Chuck. He's good people. I was trying to think of where we ate when we went out to lunch with him that one time in Atlanta, and it was a taco place. And so I may have tacos for lunch. It's Tuesday after all.
That's right there in the Battery. It's a really good taco place. And naturally, I just forgot the name. Super Rica. Super Rica.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Which is, there's like 5 of them here in Atlanta. And there's a free plug for Super Rica. You're welcome, guys. So enjoy that. We'll enjoy the JC5 when we come back on the other side. JC and Morgan, number 300 if you're scoring at home. Back and after a quick timeout.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products in out-of-state locations. Go Gamecocks!
Hey folks, want to tell you about our friends at Titan Construction Group really quick. They're a Mid-Atlantic based general contractor, specializes in retail, restaurant, and office construction. TCG strives to separate itself from other general contractors by adding value every step of the process. From project budgeting to estimation, value engineering to construction, they focus on those relationships and not the transaction. Titan builds partnerships one project at a time. Among their clients are Starbucks, Crumble Cookie, Blake Pizza, Home Goods, 15 plus years experience, based in Midlothian, Virginia, and contracted in Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So get on their website, TitanCGinc.com. That's TitanCGinc.com. Get in touch with Brad if you're in need of a general contractor that focuses on going above and beyond for their clients. That's Titan Construction Group, a proud sponsor of the JC and Morgan podcast.
We're passionate about making sure that the Nest and Wild mattress is the best it can be. Made well and made right. Right here in Tupelo, Mississippi. So how can we do all that? Work. Hard work. And that means something. The Nest and Wild mattress is a movement. It's a pride in where you come from and where you're going. So get comfortable, because this movement is just beginning.
This is JC Morgan
on the Chief Sports Network.
College football forever.
It's time for the top topics in the sport. We bring the JC 5. Number 1.
All right, Mike.
I need this in my life. You don't understand.
Yes.
Like I always say, it improves the morale of a great nation. It does lift my spirits. Sometimes it hurts my head because you ask very thought-provoking and difficult to answer questions, but I always enjoy it.
Yes, and we're going to start off with another quarterback question. Couple.
Okay.
Who will have the better season? Like who could get, of all these guys? I don't know that any of them will be in the Heisman mix, but who could get close? Who could make their way toward the Heisman? And out of these three transfer portal quarterbacks, Menza at Miami, and I'm going to keep hammering this for a while. Sorsby at Texas Tech, Hoover at Indiana. Which one would you take, Michael GM? I mean,
Menza at Miami.
Yeah,
of the three. Now, I could see all three of them having success. Having done a Texas Tech game last year, I mean, like David Bailey's going to be a top 5 pick, the defensive end. They spent all that money on the front seven, and boy, did they get their money's worth on the defensive end. I didn't think their quarterback was particularly strong. So they just upgraded their QB, and I think everything else, courtesy of Cody Campbell, will be really good. And yeah, I think all those moves, I don't think Indiana's gonna take like this major step back. I don't know if they're gonna go 16-0, but if I could, and maybe some of that is just, I look at Miami's weapons and I look at that one particular wide receiver who I fell in love with in September and just continue to get better and better and better. That's probably where I would lean. But I think what makes that a great question is I think all three of them could have standout years for sure.
Hoover, to me, it's I mean, I liked him at Texas Tech, didn't love him. I think he's accurate. He's not the most mobile guy, but Indiana maybe has the best returning O-line in the country. They got to replace some starters. I know they claim they got some upgrades, and those receivers were very underrated for them last year. I don't know. I'm not going to question Indiana anymore after what happened.
No, they burnt too many people
and Josh is accurate. That's the thing about him. He's a very accurate passer, especially when he has time. And I think
how I feel about that.
Sorsby, You look at some advanced metrics on him at Cincinnati when they played the best defenses on their schedule, and he's something like a 46% passer. Now, does that matter? Because he's got wheels and he's a competitor. And he's the type of guy that could will you to win. I mean, Texas Tech's quarterback situation last year, Mike, I watched him a couple of times. I didn't think it was terrible.
No, not terrible.
But it was, I think what Sorsby does is give Texas Tech like a soul at quarterback, if that makes any sense. Like a gamer, like those guys were good players, but they weren't difference makers. Sorsby can make a difference, but I don't know. I'm just I would be concerned about his accuracy, especially if they can't protect as well or whatever.
I look at what Mensa did last year at Duke.
Now I love Mensa.
I love Mensa. He threw for nearly 4,000, 35 total touchdowns. This is at Duke now. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Duke doesn't have a Malachi Tony when they huddle up and call the play. If anybody does that anymore.
And Miami jacked their best receiver too.
Yeah, exactly. First we take your women, then we take your children, then we take your wideouts. But Malachi Tony, again, as a Heisman voter, which has become a quarterback award, Malachi Tony will definitely be on my radar early. If he can, do you realize he caught 109 balls last year as a freshman? 1,211 yards, 10 touchdowns. He can also run the ball. There's not much he can't do. He is just so electric. So you combine him with Mensa. And Miami always does a good job of spending however much money they have to spend. I don't know what's in the kitty for them, but it seems to be a lot. They're always stout on the line of scrimmage. Now, they'll lose a couple of dudes to the NFL, but something tells me they're going to be okay on the front five. So, yeah, I would go Mensa on that one.
Malachi Tony is the reason Miami's a great job, Mike, because guess what? He was ranked as a recruit last year. He was the number 55 receiver in the country. 24/7 Sports with, I understand, I believe one of the analysts actually lives there. They've seen this kid a lot.
Yeah.
He was an American Heritage, which puts out players every year. But it's easy to kind of get lost in the shuffle down there because there's so many guys. Like these 5'11" ballers that they have in South Florida, they get lost in the shuffle. People and you don't really understand how great they are until they get in actual games in college because they really don't care. Kids in South Florida are highly competitive. And yeah, I can't say enough good about that dude. That dude's pretty special.
You're the high school evaluator. So I'm just guessing. You just hit on a key point. There's such a glut of guys, particularly speed guys down there, that sometimes you can get lost in the shuffle. If I were to guess, as they looked at his size and said, well, he's not 6'2", and I've talked about this on the other show. Jackson Smith and Jigba just became the highest paid wide receiver in the history of football. He's 6 feet tall. He's not a big dude. He's right now as hard to cover as any. He always gets wide. It's like the Travis Kelce situation, except in that case, he's a tight end. And you find a soft spot in the zone and you sit down on the route and Mahomes is going to find you. And this dude's playing wideout, Smith and Jigba is. And he's the focal point whenever they've got on the field and nobody could cover him. Route running is still the most important thing at that position. It's not how you look in your underwear. If it was all about being 6'3" and having the highest vertical leap and just being a freak, Metcalf, who's good, would be year in, year out the best wide receiver in pro football, right? Because he's a physical freak. But he's good. He's not great. He's not the best out there. He's on his third team or whatever now. So when I look at a kid like Tony, I'm guessing a lot of people said, yeah, but he's little. Who cares? If he gets open and he can take the hits, how much does it really matter?
You know what else is crazy about Malachi Tony? He should have been in high school last year.
That's right.
Early graduate, dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
He should have been at prom.
Always recruit South Florida, dude. Always. Because, Miami may not, previous Miami staffs would have been smart enough to take him. And if you're, like, I used to see West Virginia when Holgerson was there, go down there and load up. Like they get 3 guys out of South Florida, all of them better than anybody Miami signed. And you mentioned tall receivers. There's only so many Calvin Johnsons. There's only so many Randy Mosses. The guys that have it all. They can run, they can jump, they can play. They naturally play the position. So yeah, you're absolutely right. There's room for the 5'11" guy still.
And Justin Jefferson, would you agree he's one of the best in pro football?
No,
he ain't 6'3". He ain't 6'2". He ain't 6'1". He's 6 foot. He's 6 foot. Nobody can cover him either. Like we went through that span where everybody thought the future was these guys all look like they came out of a lab at 6'3", and they went to the combine, they jumped 40 inches, and everybody's like, well, that's the future of wide receivers. It's really not, because if you can get open, right? I mean, that obviously hands, but getting open is still, you're not just going to throw a bunch of 50-50 balls on elite corners and win. That's not the way the game is played. But a lot of people think that you just throw it up to the 6'3" guy and he's going to win it. No, there's those dudes that are covering him that might be a little shorter, but go ahead and try to just continue to pick on those guys and they will eat your lunch. So I think that's a myth, that all the elite receivers now are just these tall, lanky, physical freaks. They're just not. Anyway, number 2.
I have, wait a minute, one more thing.
Yeah, one more.
Because we got a little time.
Okay.
I got a route running story.
I love route running stories.
Route running stories. The year was 2006. And I was at the Stanford Nike camp in Palo Alto, California, and Jerry Rice was there. And there was a 4-star corner from Compton, California named Richard Sherman, who was the best corner there. I think I'm 98% sure it was Richard Sherman. Jerry Rice is like 40 in his 40s, right? And he did a one-on-one against Richard Sherman, stud high school guy, ended up being awesome in the NFL, 6'3". Ran just a simple slant, left him in the dust. Just because of the precise, the way he got in and out of his break, just so the quickness was unbelievable.
Right. Unbelievable. Crabtree. Sorry, that was a
number 2.
Sherman callback.
All right, so I was just looking at this. Auburn won 6 SEC games in 2020 and fired Gus Malzahn. Since then, it's been 5 years and they've won 11. We mentioned Byron Brown earlier, who I like. I like Alex Golish. Honestly, I'll continue to say I liked Alex Golish for Florida, and I liked Summerall for Auburn a little better because Auburn's been going through these offensive coaches since Chiswick, right? And they haven't really worked out. But any hope for them this year? Their fan base is down because basketball didn't work out that well. They got a really good baseball team, but someone had said that fan base was the lamest. I guess Message Board Geniuses was talking about that. I don't think they're lame. I think they're great fans, but my goodness, can you believe that? I mean, our whole lives before this point, Auburn's never won, Mike, less than 8 games in a season. They won 6 pandemic year, but it was an all SEC season. They won 6 SEC games. That's a division title in some years. What are your thoughts about this year?
Yeah. First off, as someone who has family that went to Auburn and started going to some Auburn games before any other college football, Auburn is not the lamest fan base by a long shot. I was there for the Missouri game, and they were not good, and things were not looking good, and they still sold it out. They sell out every stinking game. They come out there, they're loud as hell, and yeah, they've been kicked in the nuts for about a 5-year span, and they just keep coming back for more because that's what great fan bases do. They continue to support their team. If you would have told me in 2019, coming off a 9-4 season, that Auburn over the next 6 years would not win more than 6 games in a season, I would have thought you were crazy, and I would have taken that bet, and I would have lost every penny.
5 straight losing seasons, not just losing in the SEC, losing season. 2 bowls in that time. They lost the Birmingham Bowl and the Music City.
Yeah. And the conference records, 3-5, 2-6, 3-5, 2-6, 1-7. Bad. They, I was just at Auburn calling NIT game and just talking to some folks around there, getting some football intel, and what they got in Hugh Freeze. JC, you like bourbon? You like a good bourbon? You're more of a beer
retired
guy.
from bourbon a
All
while
right.
back, but a lot.
That's probably best. We don't need
Almost
Frank the Tank to come in.
universally, all my friends like it.
Okay, so you know this about I like my bourbon with a one big old ice cube, but I drink it fast, so it's not like it gets all watered down. The ice cube never gets to just completely diluted by the time I finish my bourbon. They got Hugh Freeze, put a couple big old ice cubes, and then let it sit there for about an hour and a half until it was completely melted, and they got a watered down version of a glass of Woodford, a glass of Blanton's, a glass of Buffalo Trace. Pick your favorite. That was not the Hugh Freeze that was coaching before at Ole Miss, at Liberty. I know he had some health issues, but man, he's just not the same guy. I don't know. Any of us would have applauded that hire.
I did.
Right? And many of us would have said he'd also be a great hire at this school or that school or that school. I don't know what happened to Hugh Freeze, but he wasn't the same dude. And quite frankly, what they got was a bargain basement. What's that thing now? Timu. They got the Timu version of Hugh Freeze. The Brian Harsin one, that was a panicky hire. Again, they swung and missed at some other guys, and then it was like, oh crap, now what? And they made that obviously was a terrible fit and a terrible hire. I do think you and I are both on the same page on this one. I'm team Golish. Like, I think that's a good hire, and I think he's going to do good things, and he's going to remind people that Auburn can be a factor in the SEC again. And I don't think it's going to take very long. That's the one good thing. For all the fans out there, if your favorite team is coming off a crappy year, this is the good news about modern-day college football. It doesn't take that long with the portal to turn it around, and I think Auburn will be turned around. And I'm a big Brown fan, so I don't see Auburn going 5-7 this year. Not at all. I would take closer to 8 than I would 5 in the win column.
Number 3.
All right, kind of a rapid fire here, just to either or. Mike's the commissioner of college football. Transfer rule. I want to get your take on this. Are you one that wants to go back to that believes in the one-time transfer? Or are you happy with how it is now? Which is very interesting.
I'm not happy. I think if you want to restore a little bit of credibility, after one, then you got to sit out. I mean, you have kids playing 4 teams in 4 years. It's worse in basketball than it is football, but it's still a thing in football. You're getting paid now. You're getting everything that you wanted and then some. The one thing you have to do if you want to represent like a pro model does, you have to have some credibility of when you sign up for a team and they pay you. You can't just jump around. And what's going on now, and I've talked to coaches about this, it's not just as bad as you think it is. It's worse. Kids are literally having their agents go around and talk and say, well, they're only paying us 3.2. What will you get? Well, we'll give you 3.4. And then going to the school they're already at and going, well, they're offering 3.4. You better give me 3.5 or I'm gone. That's not what this is supposed to look like. So no, I think we should. You want to transfer 5 times, do it. But after the first one, you're sitting out a year.
Number 4.
Okay, if let's say North Carolina, and I don't know, the news may have broken that he's staying. They fire Hubert Davis. That's going to take some investment in a sport they care about. Do you think that affects Bill Belichick and his future? Because it seems iffy in Chapel Hill, but could this be one school that, hey, look, we like Chuck was talking about, we spent all this money, so we're not going to put all this money in basketball. North Carolina will, especially if they go outside the family, and which they will. My understanding is, if they get rid of Hubert Davis, how does this affect Bill Belichick?
Great question. I wish I knew how much is in their kitty. For basketball, they'll knock on every door of every bank owner in the Triad and Charlotte area and get enough money to go after whoever they want. They're not going to worry about a buyout and all that stuff. All in. Football, after the year they had with Bill Belichick, I don't know, man. I think sometimes when you're an AD and you make a controversial hire and it's not working, you're going to just hang on because you don't want to admit it was such an awful hire that you fire them within 1 or 2 years. But if they don't show some improvement this year, I don't know what direction they go.
It's crazy. I think their GM's a problem. I've said that before. He decided this year they were going to sign 40 with a 70-something-year-old coach, 40 high school players, Mike. And they're not like the cream of the crop. They're 40 of them. Half their roster is true freshmen.
You would have thought they went the Dion route and just said, we're not even trying to recruit high school kids. We're just going all portal.
I think the GM's a disaster, quite frankly. All right, 5.
Number 5.
Okay, good. We got through that. Okay, so there's some people that are like, Kentucky had a better than expected transfer portal class. You know, there's some guys like CJ Baxter. We know he's a great back, but he's coming off an injury. Sometimes backs don't make it back. No pun intended. Kenny Minchie almost won the job at Notre Dame. Good quarterback. They got the offensive lineman from Tennessee. They also lost a bunch. They're radically changing their offensive approach. They hired Jay Bateman from Texas A&M, who wasn't calling the plays, not the best. I mean, I don't know. You know, sometimes he's been good. Sometimes he's not been good. It's kind of a different style of defense. So they're changing what they're doing. Yet, I saw a national reporter today go, take Kentucky over 4.5 wins. Now, listen to this, Mike. Youngstown State's the opener. Alabama at home at Texas A&M. South Alabama at home at South Carolina. They lost 5 in a row to the Gamecocks. LSU at home at Oklahoma. Vanderbilt at home at Tennessee, who they never beat. Florida comes back to Lexington for a second straight year. I don't know. Maybe Florida's good, maybe not. At Missouri, and then Louisville. I'm only counting like 2 I would consider toss-ups. That's not, you know, if some of these teams could bomb, but I just don't know. I don't know where the hype's coming from. I think it takes more than like a handful of portal guys that we really like. When you're radically changing your approach to do that. You've got some people close to you that follow this stuff. Are they excited? What do you think about Kentucky this year under Will Stein?
I think they're so relieved to have Mark Stoops out of there that JC, they're like the eternal optimist right now. Like you can't put them down a notch and make them feel insecure about the season. And even if they don't win 10 games, which they're probably not, that's okay. They so badly wanted to remove Stoops from the job, and there almost became this feeling like, is he untouchable? Are we ever going to get rid of this guy? Like, buyout be damned, just fire him. Well, they went and paid an exorbitant buyout like so many SEC schools do now, and he's gone. And they're happy with the new coach. And Kenny Minchie, as you mentioned, pretty good pedigree. Now, they have missed on quarterbacks since Will Levis, and that has been problem number one for all the things on Stoops. And if you miss on quarterback, you're going to be in a world of hurt, and they just have. So if Minchie becomes a dude and Kentucky with a new, fresh feeling, and I say this all the time, and I've said it even before I married a girl from Kentucky, Kentucky fans love football. They love football, and they support football, and they put a lot of money into football. They expect to be a competitor in football. And the last couple of years have been a really hard pill to swallow. So I think even if they just go 6-6 and get into a bowl game, JC, they'll be dancing in the streets over there in the square outside of Rupp Arena because they'll just be happy that they've got a brand of football that's exciting again and a new lease on life with a new coach.
Speaking of Mark Stoops, it's an all-in year for Texas, I'm pretty sure. Will Muschamp and Mark Stoops are both on that defensive staff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're going all in, and you look at their portal players. I mean, they've surrounded Arch with a lot of proven good. I mean, Cam Coleman, the two running Hollywood Smothers. Yeah, they're going all. This is if you want an example of an all-in year, it's in Austin, Texas this
year. And Cam Coleman is a 6'3" guy that I love. That it actually can get open and can win a lot of 50-50 balls. It was completely underutilized last year at Auburn. What they did with Cam Coleman and Singleton, who's now at Florida, that was the most underutilized elite tandem of wide receivers that I've seen in SEC history. It was that bad.
With an offense that put up numbers everywhere but Auburn. I mean, Liberty put up numbers. I mean, I know the quarterback situation wasn't all that good, and Jackson Arnold. I mean, they probably should have gone with the kid from Stanford. I mean, dude. I mean, it made no sense. What happened? I mean, and I think that you hit the nail. Health problems. You know, nothing like serious, but I just don't think Hugh Freeze was feeling like himself. You know,
no, he just
Weird.
looked like, you know, it's sometimes
looked like hell.
You get like the stereotypical sassy guy in a movie, like, you're at a 10, we need you at a 2.
Yeah.
Well, he was at a 10 for much of his career, and all of a sudden he was at a 2 at Auburn. They needed him at least like an 8 if they were going to do anything. In closing, I want to mention one thing. This was under the radar because you pass a rule and you do it in the middle of March Madness. I don't know if you talked about this much on any of the shows you're on, JC. They got rid of the suspension rule on targeting, which is, I think, the most hated rule in the history of college football, was to not only penalize a guy 15 yards, but then to kick him out of a game and or suspend him for the following half of next week's game. For 1 year at least, they're experimenting with eliminating that rule. Thank freaking God. That is long overdue. It was way too punitive. And so let me just give credit where it's due. Kudos for the NCAA doing something right.
And for such a subjective, I mean, the interpretations there vary. So to take a half away from a guy or game, I mean, that was ridiculous. But yeah, that's I was glad to see them pass that.
JC, in closing, get everybody up to speed. We've gone through a little bit of a transformation here on platforms and everything else. We're still going strong, 300 in the books. Tell the fine folks what they need to do to enjoy this program.
Sure. Check it out on the Chief Sports app, obviously, but also you can go to JC and Morgan College Football Podcast. That's on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and everywhere else. If you go to the old one, and it may not show up. Now, that could change in the next month or two, but right now, JC and Morgan College Football Podcast, a lot of you have gone and found it and signed back up, so that's good. And you can get it and rate us 5 stars on Apple, and we appreciate you guys listening.
Always appreciate that. Sam the Man Murphy, 5 or Dimer, dirty work. It was a one and done for me, although I liked it because it had Norm Macdonald in it. Better Off Dead is a dime piece, a classic 80s comedy. We'll get into some more 5 or Dimer during the offseason. Tim Brando's on deck. Tom Luganbill's on deck. We got a lot of great guests that are on deck on this program. Our thanks again to Mad Dog Phil Molinex, now operating 2 at the same time because he's just that skilled. For JC, our thanks again to Chuck Oliver for joining us as well. This is Mike saying so long. We'll see you next week on JC and Morgan.